Good morning, traders. I'm Emily Vani, the CEO of the Investment Banking Institute and your host here at NewsWare's Trade Talk. Joining me is trading anchor Bill Olson, who brings more than 30 years of institutional trading experience to our program. At Trade Talk, we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Today is Friday, September 19th. All three major indices are coming off record-setting wins yesterday as investors cheered the Fed's latest rate cut and signals of more rate cuts to come. The Dow added 124 points, or just more than 0.25%. The S&P 500 advanced 31 points, or nearly 0.5%. The Nasdaq climbed 209 points, or about 1%. Bill, let's get into Friday's action with what is happening in the markets this morning.
Hi, yes. Good morning. I'm watching the S&Ps. We're up 0.18%. That's positive. It's almost 0.2%. I'd like to see that in the morning. But it's kind of a quiet morning, I will say. You know, the real focus for today is this call that's going to happen between President Trump of the U.S. and President Xi of China. The two leaders are expected to discuss the Tik Tok deal, possible soybean purchase, possibly a large a jet order for Boeing. I mean, these are some of the things they're going to be talking about. But overnight, the key central banking event came out of the Bank of Japan. The Bank of Japan, listen, they kept rates steady. They made no changes on the rate. However, they did change their narrative, which is a bit more hawkish. They did say they're going to start selling some ETFs. And it was interesting. I also saw last night that Saudi Arabia signed a defense pact with Pakistan. See, Pakistan's the only Muslim majority country with nuclear weapons. And the move's kind of a blow for the U.S.-led plan to kind of integrate Israel more closely into the Middle East security partnership to try and contain Iran. I mean, you got the largest oil producer now, signing a defense pact with Pakistan. A little concerning. Also saw this morning that Minneapolis Fed Bank President Neil Kashkari, he came out and he said 2 more rate cuts this year seems appropriate. Health Secretary RFK Jr.'s vaccine panel voted to no longer recommend a combination of shots for measles, mumps, and other childhood diseases for children under 4. On the earnings front, FedEx is a little higher, Lennar is lower. Next week, we got earnings from AutoZone, Micron, KB Homes, CarMax, JBL, Accenture, and Costco. That could be interesting. But let's take a look at the overseas actions. We're looking at the DAX. The DAX opened up strong. It was up, hard. It was up, nicely, and then it turned negative, and it's not. It's currently down 0.29%. The gains this morning were in tech and financials, but now it's a little lower. The FTSE is flat. I mean, it was up, it was down, it's going back and forth. The gains are real, they're muted, with some weakness in the consumer sector. But in Paris, the CAC is higher. I mean, you got some positive action in tech, industrial, and consumer discretionary stocks. Asia was mixed to lower. I mean, the Nikkei lost 0.57%. Listen, Bank of Japan decided to hold rates steady. They announced plans to gradually unwind its substantial holdings of ETFs. Hong Kong finished essentially flat, 0.00%. It was up 0.25. I mean, that's as flat as you really get. You saw some positive action in tech and consumer stocks, but there was weakness in property and financials, and it caused the market to close flat. In China, China was slightly lower, lost 0.3%. It was a choppy trading session. Tech industrial stocks saw positive actions. Market's really looking for a new catalyst there. Look at oil. Let's take a quick peek at oil this morning. We had oil trading flat to lower now. It was down. It was down about. I saw it down almost 1% earlier this morning. President Trump, renewed his calls for low oil prices. In his recent comments have really, tempered those supply concerns as he expressed a preference for cheaper oil over imposing additional sanctions on Russia to pressure Russia to end the Ukraine war. But, you also have, on the other hand, you have the European Union. They're ready to start hitting Russia with sanctions. So we'll have to see if there's a development on that front coming up. That's what I have for you in terms of morning update, Emily.
Bill, one of the areas you mentioned, there's a couple of earnings that came out that investors are keeping track of this morning, and some upcoming next week to look ahead to. So let's start there. Bill, what is going on in terms of earnings action?
We're going to start with Lanier, ticker LEN, Larry Edward Nancy, the home builder. I mean, they missed by 9 cents. They did it on lower revenue. You look at Lanier, it's down 2.91%. It wasn't a great report. Then you got FedEx. FedEx, listen, they beat by 22 cents. They did it on higher revenue. It was an okay report. The bar was low. I mean, and FedEx has issues. Don't get me wrong. It's got issues, but overall, it wasn't a bad report. I mean, the stock is trading slightly higher. It's up 0.40% this morning, or 90 cents. So, positive, just not, ultra positive. But that's what I have for you in terms of earnings update, Emily.
Bill, on the economic front, investors are really continuing to digest that news from the Fed that came out all the way back on Wednesday. And yesterday, as we mentioned, investors seem to cheer the hopes of not just this rate cut, but future rate cuts. So we're keeping track of everything on the economic front, continuing to put the pieces of data together, along with any commentary from the Federal Reserve that would indicate the next moves from them. So, Bill, what is going on in terms of day's economic events?
Well, I mean, it's kind of light. I mean, we do have the Baker Hughes rig count that's coming out at 1 p.m. and at 2:30 p.m. This afternoon. San Francisco Fed Bank President Mary Daly will be speaking. Earlier this morning, I see some comments from Federal Reserve Bank Neil Kashkari, and he pointed to 4 consecutive week payroll employment reports, noting that that while the reduced immigration explains part of this trend, that it only really accounts to 1/3 or maybe 1/2 of the decline in job creation, and he identified the weak labor demand as another likely factor, and he's thinking that we could see multiple rate cuts, 2 rate cuts between now and the end of the year. So it's interesting, but that's what I have for you in terms of an economic update, Emily.
Bill, you're keeping track of earnings reports, economic updates, and other market moving news, all using your NewsWare. Along with those data points, you're also following things like merger news, guidance news, shareholders meetings, buyback news, and catalyst calls. You're looking at your stocks grouped together like your FANG stocks and your Dow 30 stocks. So, Bill, what else do you see is possibly moving the markets on this Friday?
Well, I'm looking at I'm doing a quick data check. I'm looking at my Dow stocks. I got 9 lower, 2 unchanged. That would leave 20. That would leave 19 higher. So yeah, I mean, we're seeing some positive action in the Dow stocks, and then I'm looking at my FANG stocks this morning, and they're all higher. That's good. That's a good start for the day. And then you look, it's not a whole lot of news flow, but you look at Apple. I mean, those iPhone sales in China. iPhone sales are showing strong demand in China. Apparently, they're lined up in front of that Apple store in China, looking to get the latest iPhone 17. That's very positive. You look at Apple this morning; it's up 1.29%. Gotta like that. Then you look at something like Tesla. I mean, Tesla's trading higher. It's up about 0.8%. I mean, listen, they got a nice upgrade this morning, and the stock's benefiting. I don't know if it'll be able to hold, but it's there for now. So we're talking Dow Jones 30 stock, and we got to start off with Disney. Disney's down over 1% this morning. I mean, this Kimmel Show controversy, it's not dying down, and it's caused a significant swirl of boycott calls. And they don't want to see that people are canceling their Disney Plus. They're you know, and that's kind of an issue for Disney because they're kowtowing to the FCC when the FCC is doing this action in order to kind of stay on Trump's good side. So yeah, but that's business. It's going on. I mean, they can't revert back. Sorry. I mean, Disney can't move forward if they want to do the deals that they want to do. They need FCC approval, and in order to do that, this is this is what they're willing to give up. Jimmy, he was a pawn in this game. NVIDIA, NVDA, or not Visa, ticker V. The European Commission wants a digital EU currency as an option against Visa and MasterCard. So they are really looking into it. I don't think they're going to come up with a solution. I'm looking at Visa. It's up 0.5% this morning. So we'll see. Boeing, ticker BA. Listen, the stock's on watch as that Trump G call is expected to result in a large order for Boeing, ticker BA. Stock's up 0.5% this morning. terms of guidance news, we got to talk about FedEx. FedEx gave wide guidance, 17, for full year 2026, 17.20 to $19. Street estimate is $18.25, kind of in the middle. So, okay. In terms of shareholders meeting, KLG, Carrie, Leon, George, this is WK Kellogg. They're going to be holding a shareholders meeting today. Starts at 1 p.m. In terms of buyback news, Willis Tower Watson, WTW, William. Their board approved a 1.5 billion share repurchasing plan. In Corn Ferry, KFY, Kilo Frank Yellow, they announced a 250 million increase to its common share repurchasing plan. In terms of catalyst calls, Coles, ticker KSS, Sea City upped its target price and placed the stock on a 90-day positive catalyst watch list. But that's what I have for you about news hitting the tape this morning, Emily.
This is the type of data that NewsWare delivers daily. It's factual, it's market moving, and our alerting functions bring it to your attention as it happens. Go to www.newsware.com now and sign up for the trial and see for yourself the benefits that professional NewsWire delivers. It is now that time of the show for the Trade Talk pick of the day. Bill, what do you have for us to end this week?
I'm going to go with Boeing. I mean, that's the story stock for today. The talk of a new jet order is very positive for the stock, and I think that it will happen. I mean, but I look at yesterday's call volume. I mean, talking over 100,000 calls traded to 20,000 puts, 100,000 to 20,000. Wow. So then you look at the open interest, 584 to 549. That's essentially, it's meaningless to me because it's so close to parity. But the major brokers still like it. They're positive on the stock. But for me, I'm hoping to kind of get in. I'm hoping that for the stock to have a little weakness. I'm hoping to get in the 215 area. I mean, yesterday it traded as low as 214.50. I think it can break 215, and then we can see some gains after the announcement is made. But I do like Boeing today. Boeing at 215 this morning, Emily.
Boeing it is, using the data to pull together that pick along with the news cycle and really looking for that specific entry point is all key in making that pick. Similar to what you did yesterday, and coming up, we will do a recap on that pick of the day before we sign off for the weekend. But ahead of that, let's take a look at the current breaking headlines that have hit the tape in our Hot Off the Press segment. Bill, take it away.
Xi and Trump holding phone call. So what's going on now, huh? EU Commission proposes full prohibition of Russian LNG imports by 2027. Trump's intelligence advisors met with Taiwanese officials. Let's talk about McKesson for a second, MKC. They announced changes to their reportable segments and organizational structure. Caesars, CZR, Charlie, Zebra, Richard. New York Gaming Commission reported online gaming revenue of $56 million for the week ending 9/14. They got rejected for their bid to do a casino in Times Square, apparently, CZR. Stock's been moving strong since. Cracker Barrel, CBRL, faced another aggressive proxy battle from the owner of Steak and Shake owner. I mean, the guy owns 3% of the stock and he won't let it die. Hundreds of people lined up at Apple's flagship store in Beijing on the launch day of the iPhone 17. Looks good. That's all I'm saying this morning.
Okay, Bill, before we sign off, get to trading on Friday and dive into the weekend, let's do that check-in on yesterday's pick of the day, which was Kenvue. Now, you were trading this one still kind of based off that news cycle with that rumor, that Tylenol. There's that Tylenol linked to autism report, backed by RFK. And you would notice that the option volumes were off the charts. You were hoping to get at this one at a discount and see some a little bit of a run from there. How did your call work out?
It worked out fabulous. I mean, the stock opened up at 18.18. I mean, that was the key because I was thinking 18.30, 18.25. At 18.18, it was a steal. And then what did it do? It ran. It ran to hit a high of 18.53. There's your 1%. You take it, you walk away. That was done by noon. I'm done. I'm out. So, a weekend at the end of the day, but it doesn't matter to me. I was already walking away. And you want to know something? I still like it. I still think that there's some legs here. I might buy some more this morning. But Kenvue, KVUE was a winner yesterday. Was a winner, Emily.
Still playing that news cycle on that one, making it a win, being diligent with grabbing that gain and then walking away makes it a win. And we will check in with you on Monday about today's Boeing pick of the day. Bill, thank you as always for your expert insight. Join us back here Monday and each weekday morning next week at NewsWare's Trade Talk when we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Again, I'm your host, Emily Advani, here with trading anchor Bill Olson. Traders, you know what to do. Let's go out there and make some green.